Brand split. Oh my god, it's a thing. Okay, so that was kind of loud. Sorry. Okay, so I've come up with kind of my own mock draft of what I think SmackDown and Raw should look like by the end of July. I I've kind of separated the championships. This is my criteria. The There's going to be two different main championships, two world titles. AJ Styles, you asshole. Got me saying country bumpkin shit now. Anyway, there's gonna be two world championships. I'm gonna have the WWE Tag Team Championships float between both shows, and the same thing with a Women's Championship. Just because it's gonna be difficult not to make a Divas Championship and a WWE World Tag Team Champ, or just the WWE Tag Team Championships. It's gonna be difficult to kind of separate those two. So I'm gonna keep those two together. The Intercontinental Championship is going to be held on Raw. The United States Championship is going to be held on SmackDown. So I don't kind of know what the World Championship I would call the SmackDown one. I guess it's not the B Championship because you can't make that. It's got to be an equal footing. But anyway, okay, so here we go. In no particular order because I just kind of thought of these as I went along. But I definitely know my first five of each. And I guess it's kind of weird. I do have a woman on one of them, thank God. But yeah, I was just thinking of how, because you got to take champions first, and you also got to take the Money in the Bank winner first. So with that being said, because at this time, the Money in the Bank is still going to be in the hands of the holder, and I have that as Dean Ambrose. I have Dean Ambrose winning, even though when I'm going to do my predictions, it's probably not going to be Dean Ambrose, but storyline wise, it makes more sense to have it Dean Ambrose. So I'm going to have him holding the Money in the Bank contract, but he is number 3 on one of mine. So here we go. Okay, so Raw's going to get the first pick, and that's Roman Reigns. Of course, it's got to be. He's going to be the world champion, then Seth Rollins is not going to win and beat him this next time they go out at Money in the Bank. So it's going to be Reigns. I have SmackDown taking AJ Styles first. Only because he is going to win a battle royal to become the new world champion on SmackDown. And I think that plays up to his popularity. And I think it also plays up to the big plans that they have in store for AJ right now. Which backstage, there's been a lot of rumors of a big push. And this could be it. I think fully that this is it. Next for Raw, I have Seth Rollins. He's the number one contender. He's going to be the number one contender. You have to have your biggest commodity on your brand, and I think Rollins is that. But then I have SmackDown taking Cena, who is going to be the United States champion at this point. He's going to beat Rusev. I don't know how fast, I don't know when, but he's going to take the title away from Rusev, and he's going to be drafted to SmackDown with it, and that's going to be the B championship on SmackDown. Next, I have Raw taking the New Day. You really can't, doesn't matter which one takes them because they're going to be floating back and forth anyway. But they're going to be the only tag team floating. So the other tag teams are going to kind of stay put where they are, but they're going to be the ones floating. Also, I'm kind of using SmackDown as more of a developmental kind of NXT A, and then NXT is actually NXT B. But I'm kind of using SmackDown as what it was back in the day, which felt like it was just the draft. You could push people over from SmackDown to Raw and they became stars. SmackDown's really where they kind of evaluated everybody and pushed them to new heights, as you saw with Cena and Batista during his World Championship run. Okay, so the New Day's on Raw, and then SmackDown's taking Ambrose, who's going to have the Money in the Bank, but he will not cash in on AJ Styles, because this is when I get way ahead of myself and I start fantasy booking in my head. That's going to mean that since Reigns and Rollins were put on Raw and Ambrose is on SmackDown, how are we going to have a Shield triple threat match? Boom. Any given time you can. Rollins and Reigns are going to be feuding for months, if not a very long time, in some variation. So having Ambrose, because he can go for any title, and that's what I would want the commentators to make aware to the audience, is that he can go for any championship. Hell, we saw CM Punk even give, I think, Kelly a little nod and look at his briefcase when he had it. Like, oh, I want to take the women's title. Okay. Good for you. But yeah, like I want that to be very aware that at any given time, Ambrose can just jump ship. And that means the Money in the Bank contract holder could essentially move to Raw if he chose to do that. I don't think it makes Styles look bad because he doesn't have a beef with Styles, but he would have a beef with the rest of the Shield, and him not being really held to their standard as Reigns and Rollins are. Because they've excelled since the Shield's broken. I mean, Ambrose has kind of just been down here. But that's what I would do with that. Next, I have The Miz going to Raw with the Intercontinental Championship still. I really don't see who's going to beat him, and especially after my next few picks, I don't. He seems like a good champion right now just because he is getting really good heel heat. And I feel like you do need a heel champion if you have a bigger face or if you want your face to be the main champion. But he's good. His thing with Maurice is fine. Don't split them up. That's the other thing. Tag teams, I'm not splitting up. Even with managers, I'm not splitting them up. They're all going as one. So next I have Charlotte going to Smackdown. This means that's just the big name. They're going to flip-flop back and forth. The women are going to pretty much stay to the brand they're specific to. But Charlotte's going to go back and forth, but she'll stay on SmackDown. And more than likely, the championship matches they'll have will be exclusive to that brand's pay-per-view, because with this, you're probably going to have brand-specific pay-per-views. So the women's championship will happen every other month or so, unless they wanted to just do, every month, which is fine too. But they can also have like another feud with women to where on Raw there was an actual feud with because I'm going to draft Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. So let's say they could have a feud that doesn't involve the women's championship. Maybe it's the number one contenders match. Who knows? Anyway, so my next pick, Sasha Banks for Raw. I feel like Vince McMahon's been quoted saying that Sasha Banks is the Daniel Bryan of WWE for women. That's scary because he was very reluctant to push Daniel Bryan, but by all accounts, backstage it was fine. Let's just have our fingers crossed for that because everybody loves Sasha. She's really young too, so she's got a long time to kind of come into her character and actually obtain the level of success that I think everybody wants her to. So next I have going to SmackDown, Kevin Owens. Just beefs up that roster. It makes it more exciting because this is going to be the smart mark crowd, especially with Styles on there because you have your indie guy as the top guy. So that's already going to get people watching. And you have Kevin Owens going over there, and oh my God, people are going to watch nonstop. It's all about marketing at this point for SmackDown because you want to have marketable names, and that's going to be marketable because you already have Charlotte. She's the face of the women's division, face of the new era of women. You want AJ Styles, who's pretty much one of the faces of the new era as well. Then you have John Cena, who's just going to be popular no matter what. So you want all those, and you have Dean Ambrose with the Money in the Bank. That could be marketable. And you have all these different names that are marketable, and you want to do that basically. So next for Raw, I have Becky Lynch, just because you need another woman over there. Also because I feel like she's really over with the crowd. So she can kind of be that Charlotte 2 instead of Charlotte being just, Charlotte A. She can be Charlotte B. She can be the face of Raw, not just because she has the fiery red hair, and that's the logo of Raw, but just because she has that charisma. She got really over with the crowd during her feud with Charlotte. So I feel like Becky Lynch to Raw makes sense. Next for SmackDown, it's going to be Sami Zayn. This guy, I see being the face of SmackDown probably within the next year. I really feel that way, and I feel like that it would benefit and behoove them to do that. That's a nice word, behoove. It would behoove them to do that because there's so many different storylines with or without titles that Kevin Owens and him can go into. That's automatically going to be match of the year. And they need to take advantage of that. Never stop fighting, seriously. Never stop fighting. Raw is going to take the Usos next just because Reigns is there. You don't want to split them up. The Bloodline or whatever. That's a really cool name. I hate that they have that. But you got to keep them there. I don't really know what they would do after the split because Usos seem more like a SmackDown brand because I think they were over there for a little while when they first started. But yeah, I would have them exclusive to Raw because they're going to be siding with Reigns, and you don't really want the stink of Reigns to be on SmackDown because viewership's going to plummet if you do that. Next, for SmackDown is going to be Paige. We haven't seen her in a while. Where the hell have you been? She's one of the most over divas women. Wow, it's going to take a while to get over saying that. She's one of the most over women in the company, no matter what. She can be off TV for 6 months, come back, boom, she's completely over. You put her on SmackDown. Again, it's marketability. She's marketable. There you go. She's marketable, and you can make money off of her name because she's so young, and she's essentially a veteran at this point, even though she is so young. I think she's like 23 or she's under 25. I know that, but she's really a veteran in the ring, and she knows what to do. And if you call up some of these other women, you can kind of put them with her, and it's going to be a great match. It's going to be a great match no matter what. So next you have Cesaro going to Raw. This plays into the Intercontinental Championship a little bit, just because I feel like we're on borrowed time for Miz until Cesaro comes along and actually they push him to get the championship. I feel like that'd be a good back and forth for a little bit, so there's not much I can say on that. Randy Orton goes to SmackDown. I don't know what they could do with him on Raw. Right now, I don't see him getting any championship matches. I mean, yeah, he could go against Cena, but why would we see that again? I don't want to see that again. I feel like you can put him with some newer talent, like a Baron Corbin, like an Apollo Crews. I mean, how cool would it be to see a backflip into an RKO? That'd be freaking phenomenal. You can put him with AJ Styles. He's already said he wants to wrestle AJ Styles. He's been quoted saying that. Put him on SmackDown. Let him be one of the top draws for that company, for that brand, because no matter what, Randy Orton is and has been a big part of WWE for the past some odd years, decade or so now. So you put him in there, you flaunt he's the youngest world champion ever, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So on Raw, you take Dolph Ziggler and finally rebuild his credibility. And I'll even go as far to say Dolph Ziggler / Zack Ryder, although I'm kind of timid I kind of want to put him on SmackDown. But I put Dolph Ziggler on Raw because you want to rebuild his credibility because it's been hurt by all of this Baron Corbin match stuff, which is fine, but it's been subpar. And Dolph Ziggler needs to stop showing off as much and actually get a little bit of a attitude with his character, because that would really benefit him from here on out. But yeah, I would put Dolph Ziggler on Raw to kind of chase after the Intercontinental Championship, because you want to rebuild the mid-card for both of these brands, especially SmackDown since it doesn't have one. And technically, Raw doesn't have one either. It's all just climbing and clamoring for the World Championship. So next on SmackDown, you put Baron Corbin, who I just alluded to. You put him on there to just become... He's still developing. There's not going to be a bunch of people that watch SmackDown as much, but it's still going to be the same exposure. So he's still going to get the same feel as Raw, just a night after. So you put him on SmackDown, let him build his character a little bit, let him build himself up with some charisma, let him get the confidence that he needs to actually carry himself and carry a feud, which hopefully he'll be able to do by the end of this year, maybe early next year. So Raw, I have picking up an NXT talent, and I think it's one of only a few on here. Samoa Joe. Raw's 3 hours. Raw's got to have more guys. It's got to have more women. It's got to have more in general. I feel like taking Samoa Joe, and I feel like this is a good way to have him drop the NXT championship and not look weak with it. Because you really want him coming in to be a powerhouse, but he can drop the NXT championship, come in and automatically go for the Intercontinental Championship. He can automatically go after somebody on the roster who he is pissed off at for no reason. It just makes a lot of sense with him, because you don't want to make him look weak because he is a powerhouse, but you do want to get him away from NXT because you want other people to shine with that NXT Championship. So yeah, that'll be what I would do with him. I'll just put him on the main roster. Next for SmackDown, Apollo Crews, because he needs a lot of work. He botched the finish on his Raw match with Chris Jericho, and you got to feel bad for the guy, because allegedly he thought his call-up was a joke and that he wasn't really getting called up. So I don't even know if this guy's ready. He seems like he's ready. He seems like he's really energized to be there, but you can tell there's a lot of butterflies in his stomach when it comes out. You can tell that he's unsure about a lot of things. Yeah, I would just stick him on SmackDown. Let him have a couple of battles with Randy Orton, with Sami Zayn. Some of the other guys have been there for a while. Let him kind of get his feet wet with those guys, learn the ins and outs of what to actually do. And the same thing with Baron Corbin, have him in the spotlight, but not as big as Raw. Have him get the same exposure. It'll make it work. They'll make it work because they know what to do. For Raw, I'll bring back the Big Show, and only because this is going to be... I'm bringing back the 3 big guys, and only because not Ryback. I'm not bringing him back. He's gone. I'm bringing back Big Show only because this is going to be all the big guys' last two Raw. I feel like by the end of the year, they're all going to be gone. They're all going to be retired, which they should be. They've had great careers. I think you bring Big Show, you put in him against Samoa Joe, you put him against Dolph Ziggler, build some credibility with Dolph Ziggler. Do the same thing with Miz. It doesn't really matter. If you really wanted to get Reigns, I guess you could throw him against Big Show and whatever. Don't do that, please. Please don't do that. SmackDown takes Jericho. Jericho only because to put the other guys over. He's a jobber to the stars right now, jobber to the up-and-comers. Have him go against Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles for the World Championship. That'll be a good match. We've already seen that. You can only suspect what Jericho would do for the championship on the line, especially with him being a great heel. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Styles Jericho again. So go ahead and throw him over there. Let him help all the younger talent. Raw takes Kane, and I know Kane seems like he's really close to being retired. So that's one thing I would do is just have him come in for a few weeks. Maybe then he has a retirement match at a pay-per-view. Maybe he retires at WrestleMania. I just don't want these guys to retire off screen because they have given so much to the company. They really have. Years and years and years of careers and lives that have been put on the line for us to watch and enjoy. I feel like they need to go out with a bang, and that's the way to do it. Just have them go on Raw, have him have a retirement speech or something, and there you go, whatever. SmackDown takes Mark Henry, same thing. Have him retire by the end of the year, put some guys over, make him look good, make him look a monster, the Hall of Pain, bring that back. That works too. Raw takes Natalya. Because Natalia's pretty over. Before the whole screw job again, she was pretty over. So I put Natalya on Raw. I put Dana Brooke on SmackDown. Got to have her with Charlotte. She's exclusive to SmackDown though, so that's fine. Let that be a thing because I feel like she needs a lot of work too. Naomi will go to Raw, and I say Naomi, but I mean Tamina as well because they're kind of a thing. Even though Tamina's hurt, but by the time she comes back, that's fine. Also, you don't want to break up the Usos and Naomi, so I guess it's kind of a thing because her husband's the Us. I hate that. I fucking hate that. SmackDown gets Rusev and Lana. Now, I'm not breaking them up. I don't want to break them up. They're perfect together, and they've kind of found that streak again. I like that. So Rusev can be somebody that chases after John Cena, chases after AJ Styles, chases after Randy Orton, kind of a lot of different matches with him, which is fantastic and a great idea, which I feel like they should really take advantage of. Raw gets Gallows and Anderson and possibly Finn Balor if he gets called up. I'm not so sure he'll get called up, only because, and this is why it's not filled with NXT stars. NXT is a traveling brand as well, and they have two shows that they do separately, and the B show has not been getting a lot of hype and exposure like they would have thought it would. So the A show has to have a lot of stars to be drawn as well, to bring out the crowd. So I think you could have Shinsuke Nakamura move down to the B show, Finn Balor move up to the A show. I feel like he's got to stay in NXT for a little bit longer until they build up some of their more newer stars, and then they can move him up to Raw. But I will go ahead and say that Gallows, Anderson, and Balor are on Raw by this point, which is fine. Have that happen. Have them run roughshod over everything. I don't feel like you put Balor in the championship scene just yet. I feel like you wait a little bit for that. Maybe have them go up against the Wyatt family, which will work because I have them also going to Raw, but I'll get to that in a second. Lucha Dragons are going to SmackDown. They're over. Kalisto still has, I guess, a say in the United States Championship. I don't know. But they're pretty over. I feel like they're more of a SmackDown-ish, fun, kind of technical background. So they fit on SmackDown a little bit more than Raw. Enzo and Cass stay on Raw. They're super over. Super over. I wouldn't move them right now. I would keep them on Raw. Take advantage of that. Have them go up against New Day. And since they're both exclusive to Raw, even though New Day floats back and forth, that could be the first SummerSlam match would be them against each other. Vaudevillains go to SmackDown, exclusive to SmackDown. They debuted there. I feel like they could stick there. They just have that kind of persona that belongs on SmackDown, kind of. The Wyatt family go to Raw. Now, again, I cannot say this enough. Raw is 3 hours long. SmackDown's going to be 2. That's a big deal. You need guys to fill out that roster. And that's kind of why they want to bring up NXT guys, but you have all these other guys coming back. I feel like you stick with the Wyatt family on Raw, boom, you just bolstered pretty much your entire Raw brand. And that works. That works wholeheartedly. Next, I'll put the Golden Truth and Tyler Breeze and Fandango, Dongo, Bong. There we go, just call them Bong. Let's stick them on SmackDown. Those two teams on SmackDown. And then I'll put Bayley on Raw. Because I feel like the women's division in NXT is really solid right now. Go ahead and throw her up on Raw. Have her match up against Sasha Banks. Have her match up against Becky Lynch. Charlotte as she floats back and forth. You put Golden Truth. They're really over after this 5-month experiment. It's really worked out. Kudos to whoever wrote that. That's really good. Really good stuff. And Tyler Breeze and Fandango have really benefited from Golden Truth. So have them feud on SmackDown. That'll be fine. I'll put the Social Outcast on Raw because you need some feeders. You need some lower level talent. And no offense to them because, they do work their asses off. But they are just enhancement talent right now. And then I'll also stick Alberto Del Rio on Raw. And I know that breaks up Paige and Alberto, but whatever. I don't really think he belongs on SmackDown. But on SmackDown, I'll put the Dudleys and Sheamus. Dudley's only to become enhancement tag team. Maybe they break up. Maybe they have like a singles run for Bubba Ray. But Sheamus, just because he's a veteran, you kind of need a veteran like Jericho and not Rollins, Jericho and Orton on SmackDown as well. So I'll put Sheamus over there. But yeah, that's pretty much I think 20 picks a piece. That's how I would do it. And I really feel like that would be a strong show for SmackDown and a strong show for Raw, especially with bringing up Bayley, Balor, and who else? Samoa Joe to Raw. I don't feel like you should put them on SmackDown or those guys on SmackDown. I feel like you should put lesser known NXT talent on SmackDown if you really do want to take a Hail Mary with those guys. But yeah, that's how I would do it. How would you do it? Let me know below. I'm really excited about this. I know a lot of people are kind of weary because they didn't do it right last time. But I feel like it was really, really strong right before it crumbled and they started doing the Raw Super Show. But that's also when they had a bunch of guys either leave or become irrelevant because of writing. So I'm really excited about this. Let me know what you guys think below. And thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And yeah, it's happening, man. The draft's happening. So thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you later. Bye.